Good morning, everyone. We have in our studio Divya Mowar, a mechanical engineer turned business operations leader at Google, who champions women's empowerment through pageants, fashion shows, and community events. Divya started as a first female engineer in a factory floor and is now responsible for automating Google's logistics business operations. That's quite the journey, Divya. Very, very glad to have you in the studio. A few more things about you. You were at Nike, where you led the automation strategy across finance and supply chain. You also have a great following on Instagram with about 30,000 followers and growing. And you volunteer to help women over 50 rebuild their resumes and profiles. That's very purposeful work. A very unique thing about Divya, which we wanted to bring up, is the fact that she actually won the California pageant and the national title for Mrs. Bharat USA Elite in 2021. And she organized 9 inclusive pageants in the 5 years following that, empowering 600 plus women, including domestic violence survivors. That's a huge amount of effort and what a melting pot of ideas, thoughts, creativity that you bring to the table, Divya. So excited to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Shivam. Very humbled to be here. Love the introduction. Altogether, the TLDR was amazing. I also didn't know there's so much in my journey of past decades. Thank you, Igor, for having me here. Really, really excited, and I hope both of you are having a great morning.
Indeed, and it's only just going to get better. So, Divya, let's dive in. We want to learn more about your story, the role, your scope, your early days. How did you get started? Especially the mechanical engineering, that education itself comes with a lot of baggage of, am I the only woman in this college or in this whole class? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it has been a very interesting journey. I think the thing that I can say about myself is I don't think too much before I put my foot forward. And I just go with it. And when I was being offered in the counseling, the choices of my branches in engineering, I had 2 choices of staying in my hometown and take mechanical or go outside of my city and get another branch. So I was like, well, I want to stay with my parents. So I took what was offered, mechanical engineering, and didn't think through much. And first day of engineering college, before that, culturally brought up into a very cultured family, a bit conservative. 3 sisters, went to all girls school. And then I was let out in the ocean of species which are called boys. And all of them are boys. So it was very interesting. So the first few days were like, you go through the whole journey of utter shock. And then realization, and then internalization, and accepting. But I was good in studies. So that part never, I think that really helped me, because what I all knew was how to study and how to put that all out. So that part I was good. And then by the 4th year, I didn't even realize that I was in mechanical engineering. So it was quite an interesting journey. And I'm glad I did it.
That's wonderful. Yes. Just for background, everybody who goes through engineering in India, and I think it might be true here in the United States and in parts of Europe as well, the first year is more of the foundation across all engineering disciplines. So even though you might be an electrical engineering major or a computer science major, you will have to go through engineering drawing, mechanical engineering courses. And the workshop is like the biggest shock of life for many girls when they go into engineering, because you're in a real workshop where you are going to be playing with real fire and iron and casting and welding and stuff. So yes, that was the first time in my life I said, my dad wasn't kidding when he said you're an equal. He's right. Yes, I'm an equal. I think you touched upon not thinking too much about life, which is, we all think we can craft that perfect narrative, the perfect resume, but who knows? I mean, that's just, life really doesn't follow a script. Talking about your life and the script that it followed, what do you do at Google? And what does your day-to-day look like?
Absolutely. First thing, I love Google, and Google happened to me because I took certain risk in my life, and I'm really, really happy for those moments where I made the decisions. What I do at Google is I am part of their global scale automation, global service and logistics DSL program. And there's a whole bunch of reverse logistics that happen in this part of the organization. Forward side selling is easy and everybody loves it. And the reverse side is always treated as like a stepchild because the sales are happening. But the reverse process of this logistics at Google is done manually in like 600 plus spreadsheets. So right now what I'm working is I specialize in continuous improvement in making sure the data quality is at par. So what I do is we are building this automation to make sure that this supply demand of reverse side of Google's hardware is automated. We are going to use the tool for the first time, and that's what I've been the past 3.5 years. The first part of 1.5 years was automating the demand side, and now we are doing supply. What I mean by that is a phone can be made of 110 plus components. All those components, where they are, like how the whole supply chain works and how to make sure that when we are repairing, we have everything available, that will be automated to an extent. So that's my day-to-day job. And I love that in a way that we are building things for the first time. We are giving our customers a better experience ultimately, and also making things better for the entire org. So things are more readily available and they can use their brain power in not working through the spreadsheets, but using a tool and using scenario planning to make sure to make the right decisions.
That's wonderful. And it almost feels like behind every Pixel phone, there are 500 spreadsheets that make it happen. But
Yes,
that is a true across the industry. I'm sure a lot of us, we all feel like, oh, this must be a really automated world behind the scenes. And it
that's
truly isn't.
it's like a big, beautiful cruise ship. That's what Google is. But when you get in, it's like a rocking boat, and you constantly are paddling to make sure that you stay on surface. And I think that's the best thing. Like, there's so many challenges. Every day you walk in with new challenge, and that's what is perfect, because that's what wakes me up, and I'm ready to work every morning.
That's wonderful. And you've had quite a successful career at Google as well. You got your first promotion in the first year. I don't think I know anyone, and I was there at 9 years myself, who achieved that. So tell us a bit about that. That's quite a spectacular milestone.
Yeah, I was totally shocked and surprised because I was not expecting. And when my manager took me in the room, and she was like, I have been waiting to tell you unless it was approved. I couldn't tell you. And when she shared, I'm like, what? It was a total shocker. So I think I first have to thank all the leaders in our org, because they do recognize the right resources. First of all, hiring the right resource, and then making sure that they are happy. And there's nothing in Google that, I mean, there's so much that Google has to offer. But apart from that, recognizing the right potential and letting them lead and getting them promoted is such a great thing, like such an energetic thing for me, that I'm still like super excited about it and super pumped, because it was such a game changer for me. Right. And I think why it happened, I don't know the exact reasons, probably potential. I have so much to offer. I did gamble right before joining Google, so I did join at a scale which was right at my level or a little bit lower. So that was another reason. But even then, recognizing, I think I have to give that back to Google. That was such a great thing to do, and making sure that the employees are happy.
It seems like you have a female manager. So women champions who are out there looking out for other women. And so much of your story comes from that as well. We'll dig into that part of the story. But I'm curious, what is the most toughest part of your job today? You've transcended industries. You've seen it all when it comes to logistics planning and now into supply and demand. What is the toughest thing?
Maybe off the tangent, but commute. Gosh, it's only 20 miles, but I go to work pretty early in the morning, and it still takes me almost an hour to reach. So that is the hardest challenge. Once that is done, everything else is good once I reach at work. Apart from that, like bringing back to work context, I don't even know what challenge I'll face in the morning, because every day when we are taking those spreadsheets and automating it, there's a lot of flexibility that comes in the spreadsheets. And now when we have to automate, the tool has a scope. It's a box. And we need to make sure that box does the part. So there is making sure that there is adoption, right, of the tool. And that can only happen if we deliver at least the MVP in the first go. In order to do that, there's so many challenges. And I am a data expert. So there's a big lift and shift of data that we have to do from manual to this systematic way of doing things. So every day, I don't even know what challenge we will unveil, but the beauty of it is that we have a great team, and I love challenges because what's the point in having a comfortable, mundane work schedule? Every day, new challenges in world of data is what I expect.
You have a fantastic career and so many amazing achievements at work, but also your life is pretty amazing outside work. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what you do in your free time and talk a little bit about the community you're building. So you have many great achievements in this area of helping out community, and it all started with the first pageant. So can you tell us a little bit more about it, and what was it like to participate for the first time, and what motivated you to do it? How did you get that idea?
Absolutely. Before pageant it was my first time pageant, but I was not new to stage. I have been doing fashion shows before even I entered pageant for maybe 10 years. And when you do fashion shows, you're actually walking for a designer, basically a dummy walking for a designer who is telling you their ideas, their vision is brought to life. Great thing to do. But I wanted to do it differently and voice my opinion and not just be somebody's vision walking. What is my vision? And that is something that I was able to achieve at a pageant. That was my thought process. I was super busy those days when I decided to enroll in a pageant. And the pageant is by My Dream TV USA. They are New York-based company. Again, as the startup CEO is Rashmi Bedi, a woman. I talked to her, I called her, and I didn't think, and I just registered. And I thought to myself that I'll be always busy. And today I'm younger than what I will be tomorrow. So if not now, then when? And I think beyond that, I just stopped looking in the back and just start moving forward. And the reason I wanted to do pageant is I really want to make a difference when it comes to small business owners. There's so many in Bay Area, and I want to make sure that I bring their efforts to light. And whenever I do pageants, all my fashion shows, the fillers that we have in pageants are migrant queens who have started their own businesses. It's amazing to see everybody's journey, and it's so fulfilling. And that's what I wanted to have, is to have a voice and take that beyond, because I was lost in that ocean of so many community events happening. But how do you make a difference? And for that, you need a platform so people can hear you and they see you differently. And I think that's what a crown gives you, is you are a person, and as soon as you wear a crown, you get that attention because you have achieved something that everybody is still waiting for, or it's not in their vision.
Such a wonderful and empowering story. And what I'm thinking about now is we have part of our audience from outside the US. So for folks outside the US listening, I wanted to ask you, could you explain in simple terms what pageant is actually is for somebody who not necessarily may be aware of what that type of competition is?
Absolutely. Pageant is voicing your opinion in the way you like, not worrying about others. And it gives you a platform that wings you can spread and completely make your own path. And that's what pageant is. So that's a very high level, complicated 2 sentence. Pageant is a competition, of course, but once you enter it, you chisel a better version of yourself. Because if I think through in 24 hours, and I go and Shivam, you can also help me that when you sit in 24 hours, how many times you think that what is your vision board, or what do you want to do, and what did I do for myself today? And we hardly do. Like, we are so multitasking, especially like I can vouch for women. We do 1,000 things in our head. Yeah. Lunch, dinner, kids, mom, dad, calling everyone, taking care of home, husband. So there's so many little things, but how many times I sat down and I said that, what do I want to do? And what difference do I want to make? And that's what pageant offers, right? And the pageant we do are very inclusive. It's like, I really want to take this moment to say that it's not a stereotype. There are a lot of negative notions around pageant. Why would I allow somebody to judge me? And I get all these direct questions because after winning nationals, there was no one to guide me in California when I participated. And I learned through so many things. And I'm so glad, because self-learning is the best way to learn. Thanks for Google, because I had YouTube, plethora of knowledge. So I self-learned. And then when I do pageants, I make sure that whoever comes to our platform becomes part of a family. They start at an equal level, right? So I make sure that they have that base knowledge. And there is no judgment. Like a Mrs. category, for example, can be a woman from 21, whatever X number of age, right? But how can a 21-year-old participate or compete with a 50-year-old? Well, there are various obvious reasons, right? They are not in the same level of their age. So we have very inclusive. We have categories which are defined by age. So people feel comfortable participating in their own age group. We have categories by curvy category, as in somebody who thinks they have curves. This doesn't mean they're plus size. Again, it's very inclusive, and it's for couples. We had grandmoms participated. We had granddads. We had little kids from 3 until grandmom. So it's beautiful, and everybody brings so much learning. Like I learn so much every time I do a pageant, that life is so beautiful. And some people are there for their unique purposes. Like I've met some of the domestic violence victim, and it takes my heart away because it's so much they go through, and they just need that little confidence. Like they won't even look me in the eye when they talk to me because they lost their confidence somewhere. And that's what this platform gives. Like you are no different than anybody else. You need to voice your opinion. So it's just so beautifully done. And I'm very, very passionate about. Again, I've been doing this since 2022 and just did our last one in May of 2025. And we are already doing the next one in April of 2026. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and the impact is fantastic. I want to do a step back. So you won a competition on the state level, then you went national. You won it on the national level, and then you decided to do pageants of your own. Can you tell us a little bit about why have you decided to do something of event like that on your own? What was your motivation? Why you decided to do it?
Absolutely. So winning state California pageant was a great thing to do. Again, I prepared very hard. I knew what I want to say. I was very well prepared, even though those times of my life I was working for a startup company, and I had a big family event which I was hosting in my home. So people were coming from India. So there's so many things were moving, but I still did my best. Whatever time I had, like a minute of making tea at home, I would practice. I would practice my walk. I would think, how would I want to style myself, what I want to speak, how would I want to answer my questions. So there was a lot of thought process that I did for California. And then after winning, then it kind of hit me that, oh, wow, this really is something. Like I achieved something, and hard work always pays off. Like I wasn't gunning to win the pageant. I was making sure that I want to do my best, that I shouldn't wake up in the morning and say, I wish I would have put a little bit more effort. Yeah, I don't have time to repeat things. So you do your best in your one go, and that should be your best shot. And then after that, I didn't even know there are nationals for the one of the when Rashmi ji, who came from New Jersey, she was leaving, and she's like, "I'll see you at nationals," and I'm like, "Oh, what? What is that?" So then I called her next day. We talked about it, and then I went for national. Then I participated in elite category. So Mrs. Bharat USA 2021 in elite category, and then I registered for nationals. Again, preparation. There's a lot of things happened, and they were beautiful, amazing ladies, couples, men on stage. We all made very good friends, and I'm still very good friends with all of them. And winning that was a total surprise. I'm like, hey, I'm not the tallest. I am not the prettiest. I'm very confident, very authentic. That part, but it's when something of that level happens, you feel like, okay, yes, you did something right. And if you want to spread that word, there's so many women like me who want to do it. I mean, I've met so many women and they always want to be on stage. There's shyness in them. Who doesn't want to be on stage and talk about their journey and get pictures? There are a lot of reasons people can want to be on stage. And then I became the state director of My Dream TV, under which and I did my first 3 pageants in that year. I organized, and I did not know my potential of how organized I am and how I can pull that. My first 2 events were solo. I didn't have a team. I literally trained. I did everything. Like I would everything was very organized. I wrote down, and then by second year I started having a team. And then I became the vice president for My Dream TV California Pageants, and now I'm the senior vice president. And it just keeps on going. And throughout the year, with all my winners, all my people who are not just winners, like everybody who has joined this platform, we do tons of shows throughout the Bay Area. And we have made a mark that wherever we go, there will be a quality. There will be some kind of, it'll be a different show. It will be like very encouraging and empowering show for the audience. There has been no looking back, and I am glad I'm able to do it because there's so much to teach and so much to learn on both ends. And yeah, I'll continue to do until it's possible. Yeah.
Very courageous, I think, move to say, not only am I going to participate and win it, I'm going to actually do this for others and bring it all together. It's a very courageous move. Yeah, I want to connect your inspiration and purpose behind this initiative to your upbringing, your education, and your industry experiences. How do you bring all of that together? And do you seek inspiration, the creative inspiration from your hobbies and bring it to your work, and maybe the planning capabilities from work and take it to your pageant? Where do you think does one borrow from the other?
And I think you're absolutely right, Shivam. We feed onto each other. These are all our qualities. We use them at different places, different times. And I think they all are very well connected because ultimately we get fulfillment, and that's why we do certain things. Work, my experience, my choices, which have been a little bit out of the box, have given me the ability to understand things better, listen, and then react is a thing that I learned when I was in college. And I think my family background also has a lot to do with the discipline, that we were like so disciplined. I did not even know there's an option to say no when I was growing up. I just did everything what was told. And I think when you have a disciplined upbringing and you have the right creative mind, like I learned painting, and thanks to my mom, because with whatever resources she had at hand, we learned painting for like almost a decade in my childhood. And that has given me, when I'm stressed, I paint. When I'm happy, I dance. So one to the other is all very dependent, because your professional success leads to your community success, and that leads to your personal success. And they're all very much tied in, because my experience, like I'm a continuous improvement person, helps me to continuously improve my patterns. What I didn't do the first time, and I love getting feedbacks, and I'm not worried about a negative feedback because then only you can grow. And similarly, when I go back to work, I see that when they're like meeting stakeholders, I pretty much have talking to new people when I start a project and they don't know me, or I'm solving data questions. So the creative side kicks in because you have to first put yourself in their shoes, like, okay, and then solve the problem. So I think it's all very balanced. And then the personal life is, of course, the best if you are happy. So if I'm not happy with myself, it will be super hard for me to make anybody else happy. So all these 3 chemical balances is what keeps you going. And to answer your question, Shivam, I think I interchangeably use things here and there. And throughout, I think my schooling was a very great school in my hometown. It was the most popular schools. I think the structure that I have given, and when I had the time to unleash my potential, I think it all like just kicked in, because the hard work, art, creative, it's all it's all package. And you have the right package, and you have a mindset to take risk and accept the failures. You just keep on going.
Wonderful. Yeah, I want to go into an area which is something I struggle with. So maybe I can learn something here, and so will our users. We come up with these personas. We have a persona at work, and then there's a persona that we have with our families and our friends. And then we build communities, and there's a persona that we have for those communities. And in the ideal world, if the world would let you be as authentic as you want to be, there's just one persona. You take it to work, you bring it to your family, and you share it with your communities. I find that to be extremely hard. And I don't see a good example of that around me either, right? People are either very career centric or they're very community centric. There aren't many who are straddling both. And the ones even do is like they build a community related to work. What you're doing, these are two different identities. Help me untangle this. I see a smile on your face, which tells me that you've been there. So let's talk about it.
You're absolutely right. We mold ourselves in a situation where that's how we talk in this situation. That's how I talk in this situation. So you're absolutely right. And I think for me, the easiest part is that I have navigated with lots of transparency. Nothing is hidden from either side of the world. My family, my work, and my community life has been very transparent. I have been very transparent. If people ask me, I'm very honest. And I think that makes it easy for me. And it wasn't easy, Shivam. So I completely agree with where you're coming from. And it's okay to have different sides because that's how we navigate. But once I was transparent and authentic and relevant, like I think relevance is the best word that I can say. Like what is relevant in a situation, we need to do that. Doesn't matter what the way I talk to my community, the way I talk at work. That's not what I'm saying. But I think being inside, if I feel it's relevant, then yes, I am one persona. And with my in-laws, with my parents, with my kids, and with my all three other life at work, community, and at home, I am the same person, what I was 15 years ago before I embarked on this journey, and I'm the same person today. So that keeps it very easy for me as long as my mental and emotional balances are concerned.
That's a beautiful example. And as a confirmation of your authenticity, you went even one step further and you organized a Diwali fashion show at Google. So can you tell us a little bit about how did you come up with that idea and maybe a little bit about how it went?
Absolutely. So at Google, one thing that I didn't have time to was I was working on very high priority projects was to socialize. And I love socializing, but you have to have that right mindset. And working on projects, you make friends, work friends, but you just go on coffee, like or lunches, right? Beyond that is like all work. So in that one of the very busy day, an email popped up and I had the right chemical balances in my mind. And I read that email. Generally, I would not read the email immediately. And I read that email and I was like, oh, Google is organizing Diwali. And there is a whole big Indian community that needs help. And I saw a segment of fashion show. I'm like, okay. And again, I thought to myself that I don't have bandwidth to do this. I'm so busy. Like I'm already struggling. And then I was like, what the heck? Google has given me so much that I want to give back my skills that I have back to Google in the way I can. So I signed up and I organized the fashion show and we had great models and I didn't say no to anyone. Everybody who came was part of the show. I had to train them because they are they're like co-workers. They are not models. They have not been on stage. Some have not. And I loved it because, of course, I extended my social circle. I made new friends and I was able to give them what I know best in my community life. So I trained them, we practiced. And then, when things are happening, it was like all aligned to happen. And that day that I signed up for fashion show, one of my designer friends, she calls me in the evening and I'm like, oh my God, I was just thinking to call you. Would you want to do your fashion, your outfits at Google? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. It was like things just start flowing and we had a designer on board and I got makeup artists and we had photographers and I gave them an experience that they were awestruck, if I have to say, like the models, the people who were watching, because they never experienced such. But for me, it was natural because all I had to do is devote time. Passion is I have enough. So I just had to make sure that I carve out that extra time to make sure that I train them. And we had guys also in the fashion show, and I made it super fun. It was like you teach them, but to the point that they're not boxed, right? You teach them and then you let them be themselves. I kind of mix pageant and fashion show together. And I asked them, do you want to do a dance when you go in the center? And they were so excited. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So it was so much fun because it's not just me prescribing them something, it's what they also want to do. And I'm good friends with them. We go out for lunch, we celebrate birthdays. So I'm so glad that I did that. And there was nothing like people were amazed at the show overall, the way it came out and the pictures. And I did a photo shoot, like, off stage photo shoots, every model get their picture. So I just made sure that everybody gets enough of memories, stage time, and yeah, best out of it.
You touched upon something which, again, is something where women specifically struggle with, which is belonging. Finding belonging at work, creating belonging at work. It's a two-edged sword, because if you do create that, then to leave that is equally hard, right? Sometimes it can take years and multiple years, in many cases, to actually detach from that belonging that you created. But there was an era in the Silicon Valley when, the vibe that we're talking about here, which is like, let's give back to the community, let's give back to the employees and bring this community aspect at work, it was really why people were attracted to tech. It was something that brought people together and said, I work 15-hour days, but that's because a couple of hours out of those 15 hours, I'm actually playing table tennis with my friends at work. And so it's perfectly fine if I'm spending more hours at work, but I am also enjoying, there's a recreation aspect to my work. And that's all up in the air right now, I think, in general. Are we still there where people are looking for belonging at work, do you think? What do you think has changed, especially in the last, I would say, 6 to 9 months?
I do agree to an extent that it is a hard market, and Silicon Valley hits the first and the worst way and in the most negative way. So companies are challenged with less of resources. We are doing much more work. Budget is constrained. All that in mind, I think there is still, like, at least where I am situated, I have flexibility to do if I want to go out, as long as my work doesn't suffer. And I think all the professionals, we always make sure that our work doesn't suffer. And beyond that, like, I've been very fortunate with my managers that flexibility. Of course, there's return to work. We all have to go to work, right? So that is a hard line that Google has drawn, and I think that's great because social interaction is very important. What will our clothes do sitting in the closet if you work from home, right? we have to make sure that there is some aspect of socialization, and getting ready in the morning is. I can be honest, if I'm working from home, I probably in my pajamas still forever. And then I will not eat my lunch or breakfast in time. It will be like all clubbed together after 2 p.m. And it's true. It happens. And when you go to work, you are actually a different person. You actually take tea breaks. You actually take break for lunch and you talk to people. So I think my expectation in my mind, that is good socialization for me. I'm not like I love going to gym at work, which is right across from me, but I have not been able to go for 8 months. But then I have to make a call that if I go there and that extra 2 hours and then work. So I make that judgment call and I come back home and I exercise at home because I want to. I think it's a very personal decision, but I'm very happy with the way I'm able to take that flexibility on. We do have a table tennis table at our floor. We have a pool table upstairs, and very once in a while I'll see balls clinging. So I agree to your point, Shivam, that there is that social aspect, that there was like no fear of doing such things at work, but now there is a fear around it. So I do feel that, but I was never a person who did such everyday socialization. Like, I would always come home and then do my other things. So I think for me, I'm able to accept and move on. But yeah, I do want to go back to work out at Google because that's amazing.
That's fantastic. And I actually wanted to ask you about something very personal. It seems like, and I feel like many of our listeners can listen to this episode or watch it on YouTube and think that you're a completely fearless person because you're tackling some of the things that people are terrified of: being on stage, being very visible, being active. Can you tell us a little bit and share with us a little bit about fears? Do you ever face some fears, and if you do, how do you tackle them?
That's a great question, Igor. And I think everybody has fear. We all are humans. We have a heart, and it starts pumping blood in a different way when our emotions are different. Could be fear, it could be excitement. And I think the fear of failure is the hardest fear for people to overcome, and it's normal. I won't say I'm fearless, but I have learned to tackle it in a way that what most will happen, we will fail and will improvise. That's what I tell my pageant girls also, because when they come and the first question is, oh my God, it's a competition. I've never done this. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody has ever done this. Who in this world has time to do 100 pageants? No one. You only do it once or twice or thrice, right? As you keep progressing, but you don't do it again and again. And of course, it's normal. We are humans. We will have fear. But that's what will keep you going. If we don't have fear, we will not work hard to overcome it. So I think it's normal. You just have to make sure that when fear takes over, you just organize yourself in a way and make sure that the hard work, whatever works for us, like for me, organization is a key. Although walking in a mess is my expertise, like at work, at Nike, at NetApp, that's what I've done, is clean up lots of manual work. So I think that also helps me because I'm not afraid of starting from scratch. I've worked on projects which are tops down, which are easier to work. And I've also worked on projects with a bottoms up approach. So I think you just have to work towards it. Being fearless doesn't mean that my heart is not racing when I'm going on stage. And I never rehearse. It's very hard for me to rehearse and talk because then I'm not being authentic. So every time I speak, you will never see a paper or a phone in my hand because I'm speaking my heart. And I think that's what it is. Like if you're authentic, if you know what you want to do, walking unknown is absolutely okay. I think I've done it several times to prove it to myself. And the first time I did it was when I changed my industry from total manufacturing. I do want to touch a little bit upon that, Igor, if you have time, is I'm a mechanical engineer and I did my master's in industrial engineering in US. And with my first job, it was a 100-year-old family-owned business where I was the first female industrial engineer. They never hired industrial engineering in there. And it was very close-knit company. Like if you're not at work, you're not working. If you are not in vision, you're not working. And I was given the responsibility of managing this production floor where we were manufacturing such suspensions, off-market suspension for automotives. I was thinking that how can a 23-year-old teach stuff to people who have 50 years of experience? I would walk in the production floor, my legs would tremble. And it's okay because I know that where I am, I'm not at their level. So I have to gain their respect before I can teach them. So you have to figure out a path, a trajectory. When in pageant, similarly, I have walked the path. So I know the experience. When everybody comes and they have this fear, and I tell them the same thing, that if you don't fear, you will not work hard because it's just going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. I was listening to you and I was thinking about one word, one concept, and that word is confidence. You radiate confidence, and I think we can call you an ambassador of confidence because you actually bring confidence to people's life, right? And you do it on a big scale. You affected so many people, literally hundreds of people. If you could give an advice on confidence, one advice, how to raise confidence, how to be more confident, how to train yourself to be a little bit more confident, what advice would it be?
For people who, the advice, I think what helps is preparation, a little bit of organization. People who don't like risk, it will definitely help them because then they're sorted. I feel that for me, everything is like an assembly line. So into my manufacturing world, that even at home when I'm building tacos, I will have things laid out in assembly line. So it works faster and it's efficient and it's ingrained in me. And it hurts me sometimes because not everybody's organized, but that's something that I have learned, and it's my second nature. So it's good to be organized. I think very important things that I said it multiple times already, but I'll repeat it because being authentic, you can't fake for too long. You have to bring that transparency that your inside, what you speak has to come out, and then confidence radiate. And I'll give you an example of and I was volunteering. So thanks to NetApp, because when Shivam, to your point, the earlier question, I was able to volunteer at NetApp and go to, again, an email popped up. It was my second year at NetApp, and there was a workshop that NetApp was volunteering to help women transition their jobs. And it immediately resonated with me because I was stuck in my thought process that I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm an industrial engineer, and this is the industry for me, and I can take that leap and transition. It took me a while to get over that bump, and it was me. I'm not going to blame anyone. It was totally me not getting over the mind over matter, right? And I was like, I have this certain skill set. I can't go and work there. I don't even know their lingo. And that's the only difference, is the language. Like the tech words are a bit different than what we use in manufacturing, but conceptually, everybody is trying to solve a problem. And that's what I helped, because when I was at NetApp, I was in 8 years of manufacturing, and then I transitioned into tech world. And I started helping these women write their resume, and I used to tell them that you're expert in your area and nobody has the knowledge that you have. So you have to bank on it. You just have to figure out a way to tell the story that a person can understand who you're talking to and while you're interviewing. It's just the mindset. And if I have done it I know everybody can do it. It was not easy for me also. And I took a risk with leaving my permanent job and all the benefits on the table and becoming a contractor. But that's the best thing that has ever happened to me, because that's the first time, Shiva, when I realized that I have that hunger to help others. If it wasn't for NetApp, not that volunteering, I would not have realized. And I started helping. And that slowly transformed into helping women, local businesses of Bay Area. So it's all like transformed beautifully, and it has grown into now more of a community help versus what was a volunteering work. I think that all comes in together, and being relevant to what you want to do. Whatever I do, I'm always making sure that I'm promoting someone from what they want, whatever it could be. And I think that has helped me to gain that confidence, because I am not faking and I am relevant to what I really want, and my inner self wants that. So I think these three things together will really help a person overcome and get more confidence.
Wonderful. I can't believe it's we're now at the end of our episode. It's been a fascinating morning learning from you. Divya, you are a confidence ambassador, and you're helping people build that courage and confidence to put themselves out there. So congratulations on a fantastic run. Before we go, any tips, tricks, any books, podcasts that you recommend to people, or just any advice for our listeners?
Absolutely. I think whatever is our jam, we should do that. It doesn't have to be a course or a podcast. My role model has been Indra Nooyi. I love the way she talks. It resonates so well with me. So she is like my ideal. I love her book, My Life in Full. I love YouTube motivational speakers. I listen to them a lot when I'm driving to work. YouTube, I love listening to her. Priyanka Chopra is another one. I love the way she talks. She's so relevant, and like she connects so well with the audience. So my advice would be whatever is your jam, like dancing, music, therapy, whatever works. I think we all should do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Divya, for spending this morning with us. Have a wonderful journey ahead. Wish you all the very best with more communities that you build, and excited to have you back to share more about how these journeys are shaping up. Good luck. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shivam. Thank you so much, Igor. Really, really a pleasure to meet both of you, and looking forward to many, many more connections.